Hello BTS lovers, I know a side of Jungkook that not many people know. That sentence was once spoken by Park Jimin in an interview a few years ago. Short, without lengthy explanation, and at that time overlooked by major media. However, amid the noise of solo projects, military service, and the global longing for BTS's togetherness, the statement resurfaced, hanging in the minds of fans. What exactly does Jimin know about Jungkook? Why does that sentence sound so heavy, almost like a burden, in a world where everything is documented, recorded, and shared in real time? There remains something untouched, the private space between two people, especially when both are part of the biggest boy group in the world. Jimin and Jungkook are not just co-workers, not just friends on screen. They are two individuals who grew up together since their teenage years under almost inhuman pressure in an industry that demands endless perfection. Jimin is one of the few people who truly knows Jungkook, not only as the golden magne loved by millions of fans around the world, but as Jungkook, who sometimes gets lost in the expectations of others. Jimin has seen Jungkook fall, rise, smile for the camera, and cry in silence. In various documentaries like Break the Silence or Bon Voyage, their closeness is clearly visible, but still holds something deeper. One moment that remains etched in the memory of many armies happened during the Love Yourself concert in London. Jungkook sang his song with full emotion, and shortly after, Jimin was seen crying. No one knew the reason. Many assumed it was tears of pride. But a few days later, Jimin wrote on Weverse, "You don't always have to be strong in front of others, even on stage." Those words became a clue. The tears were not simply because he was proud, but because Jimin knew the heart behind Jungkook's perfect performance. Their closeness is nothing new. Jimin, who is 2 years older, has been a safe haven for Jungkook since their trainee days. From a shy teenager who came from Busan, Jimin has transformed into someone who understands Jungkook not only through words, but through body language and small gestures. He knows when Jungkook is tired, even when Jungkook himself hasn't realized it. In a documentary interview, when asked who is the most mysterious among the BTS members, Jungkook jokingly pointed to himself. Everyone laughed, except Jimin, who only smiled faintly. Perhaps because he knew it wasn't entirely a joke. Often, Jimin becomes Jungkook's emotional protector during moments of intense pressure. When Jungkook became the target of rumors, when he was misunderstood by the public, or when the pressure of being an idol was too heavy to bear alone, Jimin was there. Not in front of the camera, not with an official statement, but with a real presence, a hug backstage, a look filled with empathy, and simple words like, "You don't have to be perfect." Jimin knows Jungkook's fears. One rarely known fact is that Jimin was the first person told when Jungkook decided to release a full English song. Jungkook felt anxious, afraid he wouldn't be able to express his feelings honestly in a language that wasn't his own. Jimin stayed with him that night, composing lyrics together, making sure every word carried meaning. When asked about the song Standing Next to You, Jimin replied, "It's a song about the courage to stand alone. But I know it's also a song about the fear of being left alone." That sentence is proof that he doesn't just understand the lyrics, but understands the writer. During military service, BTS members lived quieter lives, away from the media spotlight. However, even in silence, the connection between Jimin and Jungkook remained palpable. One story that circulated among fans mentioned that Jimin once secretly visited Jungkook at the military barracks. It wasn't announced, not broadcasted, but told by a soldier who saw it. A famous singer came just to see his friend smile. There are many things Jimin knows about Jungkook, things unspoken, unwritten, even unseen on screen. Jimin knows that behind Jungkook's charisma as a global star, there's a young man who once had a panic attack before a major concert. He knows how it feels to be the world's youngest and still feel alone. He knows Jungkook is not just a talented artist, but someone who keeps searching for identity under blinding lights. Jungkook once said during a live broadcast, "There's someone who always knows when I'm about to fall, even before I realize it myself." He didn't mention a name, but millions of ARMYs know who that sentence was meant for. It was Jimin. Although their relationship hasn't always been smooth, the Break the Silence documentary showed tension, differences of opinion, even moments of distance. Yet in the end, Jimin is always the first to come closer. Not with arguments, but with understanding, and perhaps that is the essence of it all. What does Jimin really know about Jungkook? The answer isn't one big fact that can be a headline, not a secret that exposes the life of an idol. But Jimin knows the little things that form the whole of Jungkook. He knows how to read the pauses in speech, the change in tone of laughter, and the meaning behind silence. He knows when to speak and when to simply stay by someone's side in silence. Relationships like this are rare, especially in an industry as competitive and harsh as K-pop. It's not an exaggeration to say that Jimin is a living witness to Jungkook's emotional journey. He doesn't just know the story, he's an essential part of it. Now, as BTS slowly returns from military service and fans await their comeback as a group, one thing remains unchanged: the bond between Jimin and Jungkook. A relationship that may never be fully explained to the world, but can be felt in every interaction, silent support, and love that needs no announcement. What does Jimin really know about Jungkook? Perhaps the answer is only one: everything that no one else could ever know. But now the question is all of this really true? Is this deeply emotional and meaningful relationship truly happening as written? Or, and this is what needs to be examined more clearly, is this merely a narrative that's been crafted, packaged, and spread to shape a particular perception in the public's mind? Let us pause for a moment and ask ourselves, is it truly possible for all these touching stories, a hug at a concert, whispers backstage, a secret visit to the military base, to be fully verified? Or are we merely relying on video snippets, vague captions on social media, and accounts from fan pages whose credibility cannot always be confirmed? One important fact must not be ignored. The information presented in this article mostly comes from unofficial sources: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, now X, and fan community forums. Many of these narratives are born from emotional interpretations, visual fragments symbolically connected, or even speculations based on a single word or gesture caught on camera. So then, are we, as consumers of information, content to remain passive recipients? This is the time to start thinking more critically. Have you ever asked, who spread this story in the first place? What is the motive behind sharing it? Is it possible that such narratives were deliberately created to maintain public interest in the two BTS members, especially during the group's hiatus due to military service? Could this be an emotional marketing strategy quietly working behind the scenes? These questions are not meant to deny the closeness of Jimin and Jungkook, which does appear to exist and be genuine, but to urge us not to fall into the trap of purely emotional media consumption. Because fundamentally, the entertainment industry doesn't just sell songs and performances. They also sell stories. And the stories that sell best are the ones that touch the heart. We must also realize that much of the evidence often used to reinforce the narrative of this deep relationship is merely visual interpretation or context-less quotes. For example, did Jimin really visit Jungkook in secret at the military barracks? Did fans really hear whispers at the London concert clearly enough to transcribe them? Or is it possible that this is just a rumor crafted by fans hoping to find proof of the emotional bond they long to believe in? Then, what if none of this ever happened? What if the narrative we've believed all this time as proof of true friendship is simply the result of collective imagination? What if Jimin and Jungkook's relationship is nothing more than a warm professional connection? Just like respectful coworkers,